Okay, let me see. So this is Pandora. Delicate terrors of a forgotten dream. This is a demo. Alice. Hey, Alice. Hey, Alice, if you keep sleeping like that, you're going to get in trouble. A soft warmth enveloped Alice's body, awoken by a gentle touch. Followed by a light nod, she peered into the eyes of a familiar face. Oh, good morning. Morning, it's almost lunchtime. Class will be over soon. Class? Harrison quickly covered Alice's mouth in an attempt to quiet her down, his long fingers lightly pressed against her lips. Ah, not so loud. Move his hand away. Harrison smiled and relaxed his pose, leaning forward. Anyways, I guess you didn't sleep much last night. Sure looks that way. Yeah. I had another weird dream yesterday and even just now. Nightmares again? She thought for a moment and sighed. Yeah, it's so strange. I didn't even realize I dozed off. And now to have one during the day. I mean, I know Mr. Jacob's classes are boring. Jawick's classes are boring, but I wouldn't say they're a nightmare. That is really not what I mean, and you know it. Seriously, though, keep this up and that old man will give you a detention again. He would, wouldn't he? I mean, sleeping in is nothing major, but he treated as though you stuck in a pin in his ass. Though with how strict he's being, it might be a good idea to do that. No need to say something so vulgar. I would never do such a thing anyways. Are you sure about that? You never know the wonders a well-placed pin can do. How are you so sure about that? Need I remind you of the paint incident? Alice jumped up and pouted, hitting Harrison lightly on the shoulder. No, you absolutely do not need to bring that up. Ha ha ha. Alright, if you say so. No, but seriously, it's so unfair. What is? Mr. Jawix has written me up 3 or was it 4 times this week. For what? Mostly nothing. Well, you did throw a paper plane out the window a few days ago. Yes, but, well, that was inconsequential. Plus, the other times were for things so minor. The plane did hit someone in the... What? Are you agreeing with Mr. Jawick now? Oh god, I would never. If anything, I think a few planes in the face would do him good. You're going to have to teach me how to make them sometime. Or maybe I could just make a paper ball. Good opportunity to test my throwing arms. This is exactly my point! You skipped class how many times now? Drawn on your desk? Eaten in class? Yeah, what's your point? You're just stating facts. It's that you can do all this stuff and you never get in trouble for it. It's so unfair. I mean, maybe if you were more of a free spirit like me, you wouldn't get written up all the time. Free spirit? More like a delinquent. And it's not like that. I want to try hard, get good grades. And it's like no matter what I do, Mr. Jawick has a problem with me. Shouldn't my determination want him to, I don't know, let me get away with a quick nap here and there? You should stop caring about what that fart of a man thinks. Ease up a little. Learn to care less. If you give him a low expectation of you, he won't expect anything. You can do what you want. Don't need to hear this from you right now. Damn, you're upset today. Sorry if I did anything. No, it's not you. I'm just... Suddenly a quick tap hits Alice's desk. Both she and Harrison turn to face a disgruntled teacher. Sleeping in my class and now making a ruckus? How undignified. Alice, I expect better of you. Oh, apologies, sir. Alice reached forward and collapsed her stuffed cat. Its fluffy body calmed her. In moments like that, a soft touch can make a situation more bearable. This is the second time I have seen you napping. This is starting to become quite a problem, Alice. One which I would prefer to be solved sooner rather than later. Now quiet down and come see me after class. I will discuss this with you further then. Mr. Jowick frowned and turned his attention to Harrison, clicking his tongue when his eyes met the young boy's gaze. And you, Harrison, you are a bad influence. Alice has plenty of room to grow, and yet you seem to be halting that progress. She still clings to that toy. You should grow up soon, Alice. Such things are childish. At the mention of her stuffed cat, Alice flinched. She pulled it in closer to her body. This was not the first time he'd said such a thing, and it wouldn't be the last. Despite what Mr. Jowick thought, that stuffed cat was more than just a toy. Alice considered it a treasured companion. She knew it probably was childish that she still carried around and cherished such a thing. But regardless, she couldn't imagine parting from it. The harsh scrape of a chair against the polished wooden floor broke her out of her thoughts. Harrison rose from his seat, fist clenched. And I'm sure you know all about that, all about being childish, wouldn't you? You're the most childish one here, sir. Excuse me? Alice is allowed to like what she wants. Who are you to determine what's childish or not? This room fell silent for a moment as Mr. Jowick took his time to process Harrison's words. I'm an adult. Unlike you, I have learned experience. Call me childish again and we will see what happens, Harrison. Mr. Jowick squinted his eyes with a soft glare. The wrinkles in his face tightened. Regardless, you must stop interrupting my class. Harrison sat back down, arms crossed as he turned his head to the side. This sort of outburst wasn't exactly rare, but it did make Alice uncomfortable. As I said, Alice, meet me for after class. At that, the teacher walked back over to the front of the class and continued where he left off. Rather than listen to his words, Alice found herself drifting off. Looking out the window, a soft breeze creased her face. She eased her grip on her stuffed animal and allowed her mind to wander. How long had it been since the dreams started? Why was she getting them all of a sudden? Alice pondered her situation, praying softly that the nightmares would stop, or at least not get in the way of her schoolwork. Perhaps she would change her mind about school and become like Bonnie or Harrison. More of a free spirit, Alice made a note to talk to Bonnie later. Perhaps her insight could help her. Suddenly the bell rang, signifying the end of class. Ow, my ears. Bell noises hurt little, small, tiny, insignificant ears. That's okay, though. Harrison stood up, smiled softly, and scratched the back of his head. I'm sorry you had to go through that, Alice. You must have felt so. Don't worry. Being called childish doesn't necessarily mean he believes me I am childish. Yes, but even though he's a teacher, he shouldn't be treating you that way. If you say so. And what about Cheshire? What about Cheshire? I'm sure he was upset by Jowick's rude words. Alice chuckled softly at his remark. It was nice when people acknowledged her stuffed cat as if he were a real cat or a person. I'm glad you're looking out for him. Wait, that was weak. Hang on, I can do better. I'm glad you're looking out for him, but he's got thick skin. Words like that won't hurt him. Still, it's not right to be treated like that. I guess. Look, why don't you ditch that old man and join me instead? He's probably just going to yell at you and give you some bad advice or something. Come with me and I can get your mind off the nightmares. Maybe ease you up a little. I can't save. I guess you're right. He's probably just going to scold me again. Exactly, no one needs to hear that old man's nonsense more than required. Alice laughed as the two hurriedly left the classroom. As they left before the teacher noticed they could avoid a confrontation, it was best to worry about the consequences later. You know, this is my first time. First time. You make it sound so... No, not like that. I mean the first time not listening. First time going against the rules. Well, when you say it like that, it sounds pretty dull. Harrison laughed and put his arms around Alice, chuckling as they walked. I've got this new type of plan that just came in, by the way. Another one? It's been a while since you got a new one. What kind is it this time? I am so glad you asked. It's a type of rose that you can use to make the tea. Tea! Rose tea, you say? Sounds like it'd be bitter. Well, we don't know until we make some. Harrison gestured towards a branching hallway, beamed at Alice exponentially. You should come with me. You'll be the first to try it. Now I can save. Oh god, it's an RPG. It's got mini games, by the way. Should come with me. You'll be first to try it. Oh, maybe. That'll be fun. Harrison nodded as they started to walk over to where he kept his secret garden. Whilst calling it secret would be an overstatement, it was relatively secluded in the academy's rooftop, making it a great spot for sunlight and privacy. Alice had only visited it a few times before, but every time she did, she always felt at peace seeing all the various plants. As Alice thought about the garden, a familiar face approached. A hot guy. I guess. I'm saying hot for her. Light green hair illuminated in the sunlight, a stark contrast to Harrison's dark brown hair. Hot for her. For her. That's what I meant. Good lord. He was tall and lean with a quiet demeanor. Oh, hello, Alice. Kane turned his attention to the stuffed cat Alice was holding. And hello to you as well, Cheshire. Alice giggled. It's nice to see you again. It's nice to see you again. I hope class went well. What's it to you? Kane simply ignored Harrison and turned his attention back to Alice, a warm and welcoming smile on his face. I finished reading that book you recommended to me. The ending was quite good. I'd love to discuss it with you if you have the time. Oh, the Lily of Versailles? Versailles? I can't believe you finished it so quickly. What can I say? I was so engrossed in the story, I couldn't help it. I read the entire thing in one night. Ah, what did you think about Andrea? Is she a good fit for Ossel? What about... Harrison cleared his throat and glared at Kane. The two were well known for their mutual dislike, but Harrison was known to take it a step further if the situation arose. You both can discuss it later, I'm sure. Me and Alice are about to go do something until you rudely interrupted. Why don't you just go back to your stuffy books, I was merely passing a friend in the hallway, who seems to want to discuss a shared interest further. I wasn't interrupting anything. Sure you weren't. I know you were skulking about. Knowing you, you were waiting for Alice to leave class, weren't you? Kinda creepy, huh? Alice stepped in between the two. hoping the situation wouldn't escalate further. If only she could calm them down or separate them. Harrison, don't be like that. Calling Kane creepy is just not fair or true. She turned her attention to upward at Kane, who hadn't shown a single hint of aggression the entire time. We can talk about it later, okay? Alright? Kane shrugged and smiled softly at Alice. Of course, you know where to find me. As he walked past the two, Kane turned back to look at Harrison. A sharp glare piercing through him before disappearing entirely. Tch, I hate that guy. Can't stand to be around him. What, are you jealous? Jealousy has nothing to do with it. He's just a bad guy. You're jealous. That's what you're saying. You're jealous, right? Mm-hmm. That's not true. I don't know why you're so adamant on defending him. He's my friend. I would do the same for you. Harrison froze up, scratched the back of his head awkwardly, and lost for words. I just don't get why you hate him so much. I just don't get why you hate him so much. That's what she said. I freaking... He's just dishonest. Dishonest? What do you mean? It's like he's always hiding something. Like he's dangerous. I don't like people like that. And even more so when they're around you. Dangerous? That's a pretty absurd thing to say. I mean, he's Kane. He might be quiet, but he's a trustworthy guy. I read with him all the time. He's never done anything bad. Quite the opposite. Yeah, but that's my point. He acts that way with you, but he's so secretive. You're the only one he speaks with. Really? I thought you were the only one he didn't get along with. It's not about who he's getting along with or not. It's like no one exists besides you, and that's weird and creepy. I didn't know he was like that. And that is exactly the issue, Alice. Look, I won't tell you who you can and can't be friends with, but at least for me, keep an eye on him. Ideally, stay away, but you're your own person. Harrison couldn't suppress a glare as he pleaded with Alice. He tried to hold back his expression, but despite this, some of his true feelings began to seep through. Alice was uncomfortable. A mixed bag of emotions welled inside of her. It was best to change the subject for now. Anyways, you heard about Bonnie, right? Yeah? She had some running thing today, or something? A practice tournament. Knowing her, she probably won, but who's to say for sure? That woman is in a league of her own. His voice trailed off slightly, his thoughts forcing him somewhere else entirely. A few seconds of silence passed before he spoke up again. His tone was far less confident than usual. If you're not feeling today, I could always show you the garden tomorrow. Not feeling good today, I think he meant. I'm sure Bonnie wants to tell you about how things went. Bringing Bonnie into this meant that he thought that he took his earlier thoughts too far. Perhaps if he could divert Alice's attention, she'd forget. I mean, yeah, I'm sure Bonnie would want that. Would want to. But you were so excited about the garden. I'm just feeling a little tired now, was all. I still wouldn't mind going there, but there's always tomorrow. The mood was lower, but it could still be salvaged. Clearly Harrison still wanted to spend time with her, but he was just feeling guilty. Alternatively, Alice could always go tomorrow when Harrison was in a better mood. She'd go see Kane instead as well. Oh my god, why won't you let me save? I want to see the horrors, or do we want to hang out with Harrison? Do we want to see the horrors, or do we want Harrison? Maybe I come back to Harrison at some point. I don't know. Do something else. Alice playfully tapped Harrison's shoulder. Ah! I got jump scared by a cat meowing in the background. Why? How about we go another time, maybe? You seem a bit down is all. Harrison moved his lips as if he were about to speak, but stopped himself and smiled weakly. Sure thing, Alice. I'll see you tomorrow, then? Of course. At that, Alice and Harrison parted ways. You give me a little time alone. The hall at this time was relatively empty. To be fair, this time of day was when many students were just finishing up classes or moving on to their afternoon activities. And I'm going to freaking say, stay. In a way, it was nice. The lack of loud chatter was refreshing and allowed Alice to relax and think about what she wanted to do next. The interaction between Harrison and Kane earlier left Alice a little uncomfortable, but it wasn't enough to make her upset. She didn't really feel like spending time with Harrison anymore, but that didn't mean she didn't want to in the future. She had more options. Not only could she go visit Kane, who often was held up in the library, but she could see what Bonnie was up to, considering she finished her practice tournament that day. Of course, she also had the option to just go to bed as well. The choice was hers. Let's go to the library and be weird. Perhaps visiting Kane would be a good idea. After all, he likely would be a calming presence after what happened today. If Harrison found out that Alice decided to go visit Kane, he might grow upset, so it was best to keep this to herself. It was also true that Alice was keen to hear his thoughts on the Lily of the Versailles. After all, it was her favorite novel this month. I hope that her friend, Bonnie, is like a romance option. I don't know if this is I forget if this is a romance game or not. I ain't taking it much seriously, to be honest, because they seem like they're underage. I will admit that Kane is an attractive dude, though, but, I ain't into him. Handsome. I'm saying he's just handsome. And for her to get with him would be fine, yeah. But also, I think that he's the guy at the beginning that we saw. That was like a zombie or whatever. It had bugs. You know. I don't know if I could say that word because this is going on YouTube. It's a shame that Harrison cut their conversation short earlier. Alice, with Cheshire in hand, made her way over to the library. Should have went with should have went with Harrison, but you know, I gotta have the horrors, I guess. Whilst the Academy's library was enormous and filled with books of all different kinds, many students didn't utilize the resources offered. The library wasn't deserted by any means, but the people who visited it often kept to themselves and made themselves scarce. Due to the size of the library, it was rare to see anyone else outside of the direct entrance. Many students found special spots that they would always read and study, and in that no one intruded on. This was the same for Kane and Alice. Alice was directly for where Kane usually was, in the corner of the library in a more secluded location than most. Kane sat there alone, reading an old book. Once he heard her approaching, he gently closed the book and placed it on the table before him. Alice, why are you still here? What do you mean? I just got here. Kane smiles softly and tilts his head. I thought you'd be with Harrison right now. Well, I decided to spend some time with you instead. I see. I appreciate it, Alice. That was meant to be him. So what's on your mind? You look like you want to talk about something. Well, there's a few things, really, if you're alright with listening to them. Of course, tell me what's bothering you. Here, come sit down. Alice moved over next to Kane and sat down, placing Cheshire on her lap. Well, I slept in class today. I can't imagine Mr. Jowick was pleased. Yeah, he wasn't. He wanted to see me after class, but I ended up not going. You went to Harrison's instead, I take it? Alice nodded and let out a sigh. I just don't understand you two. Why you don't get along. Kane frowned and looked to the side, thinking for a moment. Harrison is someone who acts on emotion above all else. He's impulsive, hot-headed, and a little stupid. He puts you in bad situations well, that's not very nice to say that he's stupid. That does kind of come off like you also have something against him. He puts you in bad situations, and his impulsive behavior usually leads you in trouble with Mr. Jowick and others. I understand that, but you still don't need to call him stupid. I'm just saying. I don't dislike him as much as he dislikes me. So you admit you dislike him, though. But then again, I guess people just can't get along and there's nothing you can do about it. He is your friend after all, but by the same token, I believe he's not the best for you. That's not what you should be saying. Like a bad influence. You almost sound like Mr. Jawick. Oh god, don't say that. I'm not that bad. Alice chuckled and leaned back against her seat. So why aren't you with him now then? Well, truth be told, he got quite upset after we saw you in the hallway. He seemed to insist I go see Bonnie or do something else. That we could spend time together another time. Kay nodded. I was going to see Bonnie in the morning anyway. So I ended up coming here anyway instead. Anyways, or I don't know. I already read that the developer, the person who made this, they already know that there's like spelling errors, I think, in this. So I'm not going to give them a hard time or anything like that. So people gave me a hard time with Full Hearts years ago when I played that. Because I was like talking about all the errors. The reason I did that was so the developer would know about it. Like they could fix all these stuff in them. So that's why I usually would talk about that. But since it bothered some people, I choose not to talk about that stuff anymore. Or hardly. Since you guys seem to not like me doing that, I feel bad when I do that. But like, I don't know, I just point stuff out. I feel bad about it anyways. But that was years ago. I'm older now. I have learned the things. And sometimes I just delete my playthroughs whenever whenever it feels like people just don't like my commentary because I'm a little blunt about things, I guess. Even right now, I feel like deleting this video because I'm even talking about this. It's like I felt bad like when I said I didn't like Shin from Amnesia Memories because he's a tsundere, and I don't really like tsundere men too much, or girls. Most girls that are tsundere I don't like. But yeah. I feel bad when I critique or people keep saying it's me being nitpicky, but like I'm not the best at critiquing because I'm not good with my words. So I'll just point things out. That's it really. I do feel bad about it though, if I'm being honest. Man, my PC's like making a lot of noise right now. I don't know if it's picking up or not. Making a lot of noise. I'm glad you chose to see me, though. I do want to ask, are you alright, Alice? You mentioned your nightmares earlier. Your dreams don't usually affect you to this extent. I don't know why they started. Have you done anything differently? Has anything changed in your life? I mean, not really. Nothing that's noticeable, at least. I see. What are the dreams about, if you don't mind me asking? Let's trust him. That seems like a good idea. Well, I keep seeing the same strange person. They're like a living corpse that I can never make them out in full. Every time I try, it's like they fade from my mind or get consumed by a black void. It's so eerie. Kane nodded, listening intently with a soft smile. It's not just them as well. I keep seeing this cat as well. A cat? Like Cheshire? Exactly that. But it's different. This cat is both real and not real, if that makes sense. I'm not sure what you mean. It's like it looks like Cheshire, but I don't like thinking about it. He's like a taxidermied cat, and yet alive at the same time. Ah, I see. That would be quite stressful to see, considering your phobia. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm not scared like I usually would be. I'm mostly just sad, if anything. Well, you're with him all the time. It's not unusual that he'd be appearing in your dreams. I guess so. I'm just mostly left confused and frightened every time I wake up. It's like whilst I slept, I didn't rest at all. Restless dreams. I can see why you slept in class. It's like no matter how much I sleep, it's not enough. I just hope these dreams stop soon or are at least a lot less frequent. I'm sure soon enough you'll be able to rationalize them or at least cope with them, enough to get a good sleep. You can only hope. The pitter-patter of rain was starting to bounce off the library windows. Rain was drawing in, and soon it would get very dark. Shall we call it here, then, Alice? Alice nodded and stood up, stretching out her muscles. It would be good to get back before it gets dark. Would you like me to walk you back to your dorm? That seems like a wonderful idea. Kane nodded and stood up. He wasn't allowed to enter the women's dormitory, but he could at least walk Alice most of the way. After you, then. Alice led Kane down the halls as the rain increased, now becoming a downpour. He walked closely to Alice, knowing full well that this kind of weather often scared her a little. She was usually one to not ask others for help, even if they offered, but in Kane's case, she felt at ease. It was silly to ask a boy to walk her to the other side of the academy due to some rain, but Alice didn't feel guilty of asking Kane. At least not as much as she otherwise would with someone else. Thanks for walking with me, Kane. Of course, I'm willing to do it as many times as you like. Eventually the two reached the entrance of the women's dormitory and Kane could go no further. Here we are. Thanks again. I'll see you tomorrow then? If you like. Alice nodded. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night, Alice. Sleep well. Good night. Kane waited for Alice to head into the dormitory. As soon as he faded from view, it was as he was never there to begin with. Alice made her way inside her room and locked the door behind her. She was exhausted, even defeated in a way. Tiredly, she plopped herself onto her bed, placed Cheshire adjacent to herself. He had a sort of inquisitive nature about him, at least in a way Alice could imagine. This made her want to talk to him. What am I going to do, Cheshire? She turned onto her side, looking at her stuffed cat eye to eye. The library is always a nice place to visit, and I like talking to Kane. I just wish he gave me more advice on what to do. I mean, maybe I just didn't tell him enough? Alice nodded Cheshire's head as if he were listening and responding to her. Still, it was nice of him to walk me back. I'm glad he's reliable like that. I don't understand why Harrison said he's dangerous. He's clearly far from that. You should probably listen to your friend, but we're not going to listen because, reasons. Alice sighed. I should stop thinking about it and go to sleep. She rolled over, taking her stuffed cat into an embrace. Racking her brain before going to sleep likely wouldn't help her with her dreams, but Alice couldn't help it. After a moment in the darkness, she drifted off into a deep sleep, the light rain becoming more soothing in her restless state. As if cradled by the night, a calming sensation washed over her. An endless, formless warmth, as if she were alone in a vast, comfortable void. There was nothing but her and her stuffed cat. She was at peace. Oh, God! God. Suddenly Alice just was jolted awake, her eyes bursting open as a sharp pain ran through her body. It was suffocating. She couldn't move, couldn't hardly breathe. Only small, shallow breaths broke her free from... That's not even a freaking jump scare when you're doing it really loudly, but I understand that there's no voice acting or anything, but still. I don't know if that is a jump scare, but it's like, can you do something? I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. I'm freaking frightened now. I mean, if something's really scary, is it always about jump scares? I think that's what I'm trying to say. I don't know. The sound of her heartbeat was overwhelming, the intensity ringing through her ears and creating an excruciating pain in her head. Her words were muffled, could barely escape her. She was trapped inside her own body. The feeling was getting stronger. It was as if her body was fighting against her and something was there, waiting. She couldn't see what it was, but she could feel it. Struggle. If only she could reach Cheshire, she would be alright. He would protect her. It was getting closer. The sound of labored breathing began to meld with her own shallow breath. Struggle. It was on her feet. Struggle. Quickly, Alice managed to grab Cheshire. She breathed a heavy sigh of relief, that familiar fluffy feeling sending waves of cold calm throughout her body. She was safe. She was safe. You don't belong here. A true up pure fear overwhelmed Alice. She needed to wake up. Wake up! She could felt a cold fleshy hand on her leg. Ew. Wake up! It was closer, coming closer. Wake up! She could feel it on her side, its lips up against her ear. Was this the end? Wake up! Before she could even think about what happened, it was morning. The sun pierced through her window. She sat up with a burst of adrenaline, turning quickly to see if Cheshire was really Cheshire. And he was. There was nothing off, nothing wrong. It was all in her head. Woo! I made it! Thanks for playing the Pandora demo. I highly suggest a second or third playthrough. You never know what might happen. So should I do that? If you liked my game, please let me know. If enough people are interested, I'll make a full game. Thanks again. New game. Because I saved skip intro. Let's be nicer to Harrison. We'll say good morning though, because I already said that. Do nothing. After staying for a few seconds, Harrison let go and laughed lightly. You must be really tired not to fight back. Something like that, or maybe I just don't want to deal with you right now. Harrison chuckled, leaned forward as an squid into the gaze. And I accidentally skipped a lot, so my bad. This sucks. I'm just gonna keep clicking through. Maybe it wasn't that important. Probably. Just a few dialogue changes, maybe. I feel bad doing that, though. We'll leave with Harrison. We're gonna keep agreeing with Harrison. They're fighting again. This time we're gonna agree with Harrison. I thought you two were finally getting along. Why don't you like him? I don't agree. Why are you jealous? I thought you two were finally getting along. Well, whatever told you that is a liar. Well, what does that mean? Kane said maybe you two could be friends. Oh, so it was Kane who said that to you. Right. Like I said, liar. I just don't get why you hate him so much. He's just as honest. I didn't know he was like that. Let's go to the garden with Harrison. Well, we already said we'd go, didn't we? Harrison seemed to ease up despite how tense his entire body was. Are you sure? Alice cut him off. Yeah, I'm sure. I can always talk to Bonnie about it tomorrow. Alright, if that's what you want to do, let's go. Despite Harrison's earlier outbursts, he seemed to be in higher spirits now, as the two of them were on the academy roof. The wind was surprisingly gentle despite how far up they were. It's always nice coming up here. Such a good spot. I know, right? I'm just surprised no one else has monopolized it like I have. So much free space. He gestured towards a small garden, beaming with pride and delight. Whilst he clearly made the place himself, he was surprisingly well built. Alice always thought that if his academic fell into the gutter, he could always rely on his carpentry skills in the future. The new rose strain I got, by the way, and not only is it super pretty, but apparently the tea that it makes is sweet. Sweet tea? I find that hard to believe. You will once you try it. I've been experimenting with different drying techniques and combinations. Sounds like you've been studying up on it. Crazy how you can study tea making and not, well, anything else. Hey, listen. I just know how to use my time, right? Okay? Tea is important. Chemistry? Not so much. Wait! Isn't it the same thing when you think about it? No. Wait. Maybe. Chemistry is so important in tea making. It has to be. It's like herbalism. Herbalism, right? No. Look, they're totally not the same thing. They so are. They both burst out laughing. Alice clutched her stomach and let out a wheeze. Harrison always knew how to make her laugh. The two eventually reached his garden, and a variety of flowers were on full display. So this new rose species I got, right? They're white roses. White roses? Sounds like something out of a fairy tale. Exactly right. That's why they're so interesting and unique. So excited to see them. As you should be. Not only are they gorgeous, but they're so tasty too. Well, at least I assume so. What's based on what I've been told. Well, why don't we go taste them then? Since you're so eager. No. Alice, it's not that simple. First, we need to pick the rose petals and then dry them in a certain way. You can't just grab a leaf randomly and stick it in water and call it a tea. I thought that's how all tea worked. What? You cannot be serious right now. I don't believe it. Well, feel free to enlighten me, you tea man. Such tea man? Well, I mean, I guess that title works, but surely you can come up with something better than that. But I like it. Straight to the point. Ugh. Harrison covered his face in either embarrassment or disapproval. It was hard for Alice to tell, but nevertheless, it was entertaining to see. Come on, help me and gather some of the petals. The sooner we pick them, the sooner we can have some tea. Alright. Careful not to get Cheshire dirty. I would never. Nestled between various other plants was a collection of the white roses, almost ethereal compared to the other selection of flowers. Alice wondered if many of these vibrant plants were used in Harrison's tea. She wouldn't be surprised if all of them were in some way or another, though she did recall him mentioning something about some poisonous cacti he had before. I sure hope this isn't poisonous. I sure hope this isn't poisonous. Alice muttered to herself sarcastically. Huh? Did you say something? Nothing. Carefully, she put down her stuffed cat to the side to make sure no dirt would get on it, and knelt down in front of the roses. Careful now, Cheshire. She leant in and inspected the roses. They are thick and multi-layered. It would be best if she only picked the petals of only a few roses, so that the beauty of the rest of them could be maintained. Slowly, she carefully pulled at the petals. Not off to a bad start, she thought. Slowly and methodically, she pulled at the petals, each sharing perfectly. While she had no experience doing this sort of thing before, perhaps she had a talent for it. Had to use my strong hand. She was starting to grow more confident, picking at her pace. She thought back early to a confrontation between Harrison and Kane. It was frustrating that the two didn't get along, but it wasn't like she could do anything about it, really. She had already tried so many times in the past. Alice felt herself get lost in thought. Perhaps she could just let them go at each other. They both seemed to listen to and simultaneously ignore her, and that was getting tiring. It'd be great if they were good friends, but she couldn't force it, could she? No, that would be unbecoming of her. Suddenly, something caught Alice's eye. Huh? Is something there? Well, shit. Ah! A sharp pain that slices through her. Alice stumbled back, warm red liquid pouring from the top of her finger. The pain was sharp, but it was barely felt over the shock of seeing a corpse. Hey, Alice, are you alright? Dead bird. Harrison rushed over, extreme worry written all over his face. He hurriedly grabbed Alice's hand and gently put the tip of her finger into his mouth. Thank you. Harrison beamed up at Alice, happy to have helped her, but still a little anxious as to how she hurt herself. Of course, I'm happy to help you in any way, Alice. See, the bleeding stopped. He gently let her hand go, looking over towards the rose bush. How did you cut yourself? On a thorn? He seemed to glare at the plant bed, not looking at any one flower in particular. Alice nodded quietly, shaking slightly when the thought of dead bird made its way back into her mind. There's something in the bushes. Harrison bent over inquisitively, trying to find what Alice was referring to. What do you mean? What's there? A dead bird. Harrison paused and looked over at Alice with extreme worry, before quickly looking into the bushes to find the bird. Turn around and close your eyes, Alice. I'll get rid of it. Alice followed as instructed, turning around quickly and firmly closing her eyes. Just thinking about the bird was enough to make her feel queasy, and as the sound of Harrison rustling through the bushes hit her, she quickly covered her ears. After what felt like forever, Alice felt a light tap on her shoulder. She slowly lowered her arms and turned around. It's done. I got rid of it. Alice nodded in response, still shaking up. You better bury it, man. Better bury that poor little bird. Are you alright? She took a moment to respond after nodding her head intensely. I'm alright, just a bit shaken up and so. Is her phobia something to do with corpses? There's like a phobia for corpses, right? Could someone tell me? Am I allowed to say that word? Oh, well, I've been saying it, so whatever. As long as you're okay. He put a hand on her shoulder in an attempt to comfort her. Yeah, thanks for helping out, Harrison. He nodded in his rots and let go. I can still pick some petals if you're up for it. I'd just prefer it if you were next to me this time, just in case. Of course, but don't push yourself. The two made their way back over to the rose bush. Alice stuck a little closer to Harrison than she usually would. It seems to make him quite happy, but he made an effort not to show it. Hi, Kitty. Hi. After all, the only reason for this was that Alice was still frightened. Here, I'll get the ones at the back and you get the ones at the front. Sure. And thanks again. It's really no worry, Alice. Spending the next few minutes picking at the petals, the two talked joyously about nothing. About the academy, Mr. Joick, and Bonnie. Even Kane was mentioned, but Alice quickly changed the subject to not sour the mood. It was getting late, but Alice didn't seem to mind. She likely didn't even notice. They spoke about the academy, Mr. Joick, and Bonnie. Even Kane was mentioned, but Alice quickly changed the subject to not sour the mood. It said that again. No! That's so stupid. Why would you do that? I thought it was a good idea at the time. I guess I made a severe and continuous lapse in judgment. Suddenly, rain started to pour down, the clouds growing gray in a matter of moments. Ah! Quickly, Alice! Grab the petals. Let's take shelter. Alice quickly took the petals in her arms and followed behind Harrison, her pace quickening as the rain turned into a downpour. They raced inside and back into the hallway, careful not to slip. Ah! We almost got drenched. Almost. She was out of breath, panting softly as she handed the petals to Harrison. Here, take these. Ha! Thanks. Even though we got cut short, we managed to gather quite the haul. You have to make at least 2 pots of tea. Glad to be of service, tea man. Harrison paused for a moment, averting his gaze. If you like, I can get the tea ready by tomorrow afternoon. If you're not busy, that is. He fiddled with the petals and let out an awkward cough. His eyes lit up at Alice's response. I look forward to it then. I'll see you after class. Yeah, I'll meet you at your secret spot. Sounds like a plan. At that, Alice waved goodbye as she swiftly tugged back towards the women's dormitory. The rain always made her feel uncomfortable, and that, paired with the oncoming darkness from the end of the day, drawing in, made her begin to panic. She would have asked Mr. Harrison to walk her back to her dorm, but didn't want to take any more of his time, plus it was far too embarrassing to ask. It was only a short distance between Alice and her room, but nevertheless, the walk felt endless. The halls consumed her, the floor sinking in. No more than 5 minutes would have passed, and yet an eternity went by. Eventually, she reached the foot of her door and breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, Alice made her way inside her room and locked the door behind her. She sighed and got ready to go to bed. She had a long day. She thought back to garden and the white roses, the talk she had with Harrison. For a brief moment, the image of the dead bird flashed in her mind and made her wince, though she quickly forced the image to go away. Despite that, it was fun to spend time with Harrison. I am scared that I am going to get jump scared freaking again. There was something nagging in her mind, however. Something was off, as if a part of her was missing. An extreme anxiety shot through her. Where was Cheshire? Huh? Cheshire? Where are... She paused, the intensity of her heartbeat starting to overwhelm her. He wasn't there. She left him behind. The rain was bucketing down, almost drowning at the sound of Alice's own heartbeat. She had to go. She had no other option. Sleeping without Cheshire would never be considered, and leaving him behind that was unthinkable. Not to mention he was out alone in the rain. The longer she thought about it, the more likely he was to get damaged or worse. She had to re-ready herself and return to where she last left him, Harrison's secret garden. As it was located on the roof, she had to navigate past multiple classrooms and even the faculty building. She could very easily get caught breaking curfew, but with all things considered, she had more important things on her mind. Carefully, she made her way down the dormitory hall, trying her best not to wake anyone. Wow, it gets shorter when you're hanging out with Kane, man. Dang, Kane is just like an afterthought. I feel so bad. It really feels... It feels like they didn't give much effort for Kane, though. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Dang. Like, they didn't really... I hope Kane gets more to him. If the developer or the person making this game gets to finish this game, I hope Kane gets more something. That's That's what I think, anyways. But I guess it makes sense for him, because he doesn't have maybe much to him. I don't know. I'm not crapping on the game or anything. I apologize if I sound rude. I'm not trying to be rude. I just think Kane needs more something. Like, his was just really short, and it felt like he wasn't much thought of. It's basically what I'm trying to say. And that's why his route felt like pretty short, or that hanging out with him felt short, while when you hang out with Harrison it felt longer. It felt like the main point was you were supposed to hang out with Harrison. And again, I'm not crapping on the game or anything, and I don't know what to tell people. I'm just like, every now and then comes my honesty or something. I'm not crapping on the game. I'm not saying I hate the game. I'm just saying that Kane could have more to his hanging out or something. And if the developer doesn't want to do that, I'm not forcing you. It just felt a little just made me a little bit sad that his was shorter. That's all I'm saying. Walking through, Alice felt the gaze of someone on her. She didn't have time to turn around. If it were a student, they could report her for all she cared. But this was more important. If it wasn't, she didn't want to think about it. Is it Kane? Oh, it's the cat. And then in the distance, she saw it. A black silhouette. Excuse me, Cheshire? Without thinking, she began to sprint towards it, and yet, without even moving, the figure just seemed to be endlessly forward. Always just out of her reach. She's beginning to come lost, as if in a trance. Cheshire! She continued to sprint, the rain and her frenzy drowning out any thoughts she had about being quiet. He was right there. He was so close. Cheshire! Stop! Come back! Before she knew it, she found herself up the stairs, looking outwards onto the roof. If she were to look for her treasured companion, she needed to go out into the rain. Alice gulped and prepared herself. I'll find you, I promise. She darted towards where the garden was, ignoring the rain as it drenched her. Hang on. Frickin' fingers. It drenched her down to the bone. Looking towards the rose bush, Alice noticed something, a black paw, sticking out the side. Meow. Cheshire? Cheshire! Without thinking, she delved into the bushes, cutting up her hands a little in the process as she searched for him. Suddenly, a stray cat jumped out of the bushes, causing her to flinch, and entangled her hand within the mini rose's thorns. She winced in pain, hot red blood pulsating from her hand. Cheshire wasn't there, and now she was stuck. As Alice tried to free herself, her skin began to tear. More blood flowed down her palm. Quickly, Alice managed to break free of the thorns, but the damage had been done. Fucking cat! I can't believe you would do this to me, Cheshire! The pain was sharp and fine. It were as if she were slashed by a well-sharpened dagger rather than some thorns. She recoiled in pain and held her hand. That's when she felt it. Something was moving. There was something under her skin. Something in her cuts. Alice cautiously pulled at her flesh, opening the wound further so she could see what it was. Ew, it was the M word. Hundreds of them wriggling about inside her hand as if they had been there all along. What if the cat is just the zombie boy? Alice shrieked and flicked her hand up. Blood and the M word tossed to the side. She looked at the ground. What? She choked back tears, the rain washing away the blood and the M word. It was too much. She firmly closed her eyes, begging for whatever this was to stop, falling to her knees. She bent over and blocked out the pain with the thoughts of finding her friend again. She choked back against sobs. But please! Out of nowhere, the pain suddenly stopped. Now it's instead being replaced with the feeling of cold, soft fur. Cheshire? It felt like him, but when she looked down to see what she was touching, all she saw was nothing. There was a void of space around her, an extreme emptiness that consumed her body. It was as though she were blind. The pain was gone, but now she was trapped, formless and empty. Truest dread washed over her. Was this the end? What was the point of it all? She should just... Ah! Alice screamed and sat up with a burst of adrenaline. She was back in her room and it was morning. She was dazed, confused, but despite her nagging thoughts, she had one thought in her mind. Where was Cheshire? Moving to get out of bed, she was ready to beeline it to the rooftop garden and look for him again. And yet as she moved, she bumped into something soft and fluffy. It was Cheshire. How was that? She touched him nervously, only to realize it was indeed her stuffed cat, as if he had never left her side. There was nothing off, nothing wrong. It was all in her head. It was as though she had never left her room at all. I guess now we're gonna, new game. We're gonna hang out with Bonnie. I guess we're gonna hang out with Bonnie next. Meow. Sat across the room at his desk, looking over papers from the previous class. He routed his pen on his desk. Well, we don't have all day, Alice. All right. She shuffled over, averting her gaze with a timid expression. I guess we're hanging out with the teacher instead. My bad. You know why I want to speak with you, right? You want to talk about how I was sleeping class. That's part of the issue, yes. Lately you seemed uninterested, not entirely there. It concerns me as you are well known for your diligence, Alice. I would hate to see your grades suffer. I see. I only want to see you succeed. Perhaps you should consider the company you keep. You mean Harrison? He has nothing to do with... With what? I'm always studying and trying my best, sir. What Harrison gets up to has nothing to do with me. Is that so? So he is unrelated to the issue at hand, I take it. Fine, I'll drop the subject for now. Mr. Jawwig sighed and pressed the side of his head, annoyance across his face. This brings me to the main thing I wanted to discuss. Why have you been sleeping in class? You don't seem like the type to be a curfew. That would be causing you to be sleeping during the day. I can't sleep. I keep having nightmares. Nightmares? What sort of nightmares? I am not sure. They're hard to remember. Hard to explain, really. I see. And are these nightmares hindering your ability to work? I suppose so. I usually prefer not to sleep during class. I see. As I thought. Perhaps you need some kind of outlet to help you with what you're going through. An outlet? Yes, I hear art therapy could help with all kinds of stress. Here at the Academy, we have an art club, you know. You should visit. Take some time to relax. Perhaps it will help you your work with your nightmares. I'm not sure. I heard the art club was practically empty. And is that a bad thing? You would have more privacy to work through your issues. My issues. Yes. Alice did not bother to mask the sarcasm in her words. Truthfully, you can do what you want. What if you care for your academic future? You really should pursue this as an option, Alice. I heard it is quite popular amongst the youth for being an effective stress relief. I'm sure it is, considering how many people are in the art club. Mr. Jawa took it in a deep breath and clasped his hands together, looking at Alex expectantly. You should make your way over, or at least give it some thought. He looked over to the clock at the other side of the room, then back to Alice. He clearly expected Alice to act on his advice, and soon hit that. I'd suggest going now. After all, the sooner this issue is resolved, the better. Alice frowned lightly. There's no guarantee that drawing would help with the nightmares at all. And the art club did have a reputation for being abandoned. She would have to make a choice. Mr. Jawwick did have high expectations of her, and likely assumed she would follow his word like a law. Perhaps not going would create problems later. Well, sure, it can't hurt to go. Excellent. You know where the club is, correct? Room 2B in the East Wing? Correct. I'm sure you'll find your way over there with ease. Thanks, I'm sure I will. Alice turned around to leave before Mr. Jawwick spoke up. Oh, and Alice, I'm glad you're making an effort. Oh, yes, thank you, sir. Slowly, Alice made her way out of the classroom and into the main hall. Hallways of the academy were long and winding, labyrinthine in the design in some areas. Excuse me, sorry. Whilst many would find the thought of getting lost tedious and perhaps even anxiety-inducing, Alice rather liked it. It was as though every time she walked the halls, she were going on a small adventure. Every new turn a route to discover. That being said, she had never been to the East Building before, and a stark lack of people began to feel eerie. I guess it's not just the art club? This general area seems rather empty. She wandered for a few moments, passing through empty hallways and even more empty classrooms. That was when she saw the door slightly ajar to room 2B. In the large room stood a small, sickly-looking girl. She was thin, pale, and scratched away the canvas before her. Alice couldn't make out what the girl was drawing exactly, but she could at least tell that she's very passionate about it. Oh, is this the art room? The girl quickly turned around, a clear look of surprise on her face. Yes. Ha, you don't sound too sure about it. Oh, sorry. I just didn't expect anyone to come here. She shuffled around a bit, an awkward look on her face. So, are you here too? Her words seemed to trail off. It seemed that her mind was elsewhere. I came here to have a look, really. To see what the art club is like. Suddenly, the girl's eyes lit up slightly. Oh, you want to join? I'd love that. I mean... Apologies. I didn't even introduce myself. I'm Anna. Or Anne. Haha. Hello, Anne. I'm Alice. Nice to meet you. Anne gestured inside with a timid look, a hint of excitement behind her tired eyes. Following this, she seemed to notice the stuffed cat Alice was carrying around. Oh, who might that be? Alice beamed. Oh, this? Meet Cheshire. He goes with me everywhere. I see. Anna looked a bit awkward, shuffling where she stood. Suddenly a thought crossed Alice's mind. Perhaps he wouldn't be allowed inside the art club? Is he not allowed inside? Quickly, Anne replied. No, it's nothing like that. I've just never seen such a cute cat before, is all. Whilst her answer was shaky, Alice was more than enthused to hear those words. He really is, isn't he? Mm-hmm. Silence fell once again. Well, if you like, you could come in. Oh, yes, sure. Alice inched inside. Most of the art room seemed to be bare, with only a few easels set up. It would appear that Anne was the only member of the art club. The club room itself was rather large enough to accommodate at least 15 people, Alice could guess. There were various art supplies stacked in the corner, enough canvases to last a large group of artists for weeks. Okay, then. That is when Alice turned to see it, a large wall covered with various drawings of different shapes and sizes, all depicting the same person. They're not done or anything. Each picture had the same person drawn over and over. Eyes scratched out, messy anatomy, ears missing. It was hard to make out exactly who the person was, but Alice could guess. Is that Eliza? Oh, yes. Anne fiddled slightly as if uncomfortable or in a strange twisted way proud. But, it's not what you think. I'm just using her as a model. It's all. Model. I see. Alice thought for a moment. Eliza was well known as a popular upstart, a queen of the academy even. It wouldn't be strange for her to be a model, but to model for this kind of art was not her usual style. Perhaps I didn't know what that said. My bad. I clicked accidentally. Anne clutched onto the end of her brazier. After a few moments, she spoke. Could I mean, what if I painted you, Alice? The room grew quiet. Why don't I paint you instead? Alice did feel a little uneasy considering the strange artwork, but she did come to the art club for a reason. Maybe drawing someone else could be a good step in her art therapy journey. Alice wasn't so sure of herself. You want to draw me? Well, I did come here to do art. Actually, I haven't told you about that, haven't I? Have I? Mr. Jogwick asked me to come here to do some art therapy to help with stress and stuff. Oh! I see, yes. Drawing does help a great deal in that regard. At least it does for me. She shuffled lightly as if flustered for no discernible reason. Reminds me of me sometimes. Ah, so I'm told. So can I give it a go then? Yes. I mean, if you'd like. Alice nodded as Anne directed her to the easel, taking various art supplies from the nearby table as they went. She passed a black pencil to Alice and raised the easel to fit her height. To avoid getting Cheshire dirty in any way, Alice placed him next to her. Though being even this far apart from her cherished companion made her a little uncomfortable. That being said, she couldn't draw if he sat in her lap. Oh, thanks. You seem to know what you're doing. Yes. I've been in the art club for a while now. Alice looked at the canvas closely and then back at Anne. It was time she got started drawing. Something wasn't right. Alice thought she should try again. Something wasn't right. Bruh, I'm about to quit. Finally! Not to a bad start, Alice thought. I was kept pressing the button over and over again. I didn't know what I was doing. Alice thought over the people she knew as well as the academy itself. She knew that the art club was rather abandoned, but didn't recall much about the residents. It was strange that she had never heard of Anne before. Although it would be silly for Alice to remember every single student. While she thought, Alice continued to sketch Anne. This looked right. Alice was starting to enjoy herself. So how long have you been at this club for? Alice scratched away at the page as Anne took a moment to think. For a time she seemed to be in another world before abruptly snapping back to reality. You know, I don't know. Probably ever since I came here? It's like the art club is my whole life, you know. She's a ghost. I think I understand. She's a ghost. She continued to draw away whilst Anne looked over to her mini drawings of Eliza. It's almost done. Oh God. As Alice drew, Anna's eyes slowly moved from drawing to drawing. Does Eliza come in here often? Anna froze and awkwardly laughed. No, not really. Not anymore. So you draw from memory? That's pretty impressive. Yeah, something like that. As the room grew quiet, Alice finished her drawing. Turned out better than she expected. Are we done yet? So how's the drawing going? Can I see? The piece was rather plain and simple. It was Alice's first time drawing, after all. But something about the process was calming. Maybe Mr. Drawwick was right after all. Ugh, my chair. My booty hurts. My booty. Anne looked over expectantly. Sure, have a look. Alice gently passed over the rough sketch to Anne, shy but somewhat excited to see what she had thought. Quietly, Anne took the page and scanned over every detail with fine precision. What do you think? A light shifted in Anne's eyes, and she swallowed softly. She took the time to gather the right words, mulling it over in her mind, but in the end she only replied with a simple word. Beautiful. Alice was mildly taken aback. Quickly, Anne stumbled over herself, explaining what she meant. No, not me. I mean, the way you draw. It's beautiful. Considering Alice had never drawn before, it was her. She's clearly talking about her. No, I'm just kidding. But it is a freaking horror game, so whatever. I'm never certain who's like, you know. Considering Alice had never drawn before, she was quite surprised by the compliment, but accepted it nonetheless. Oh, well, thank you. The sun had set. The evening drew on in the open room, once empty, filled with the darkness. There was something eerie about the drawings on the wall and the imposing shadow that the end of the day ensured it was time to leave. But she's obsessed with the redhead girl. I don't know why. I think she hates her. Maybe. Probably. Wow, time really flew by there. I really should be making my way now, Anne. Are you sure? There's still some time. Alice looked to the window. It was starting to rain. Thank you, but I really should be going now. The rain will only get worse. She gestured towards the window as a pit formed in her stomach. As if on cue, the rain got heavier. Anne smiled softly and opened the door for Alice. Will you come back again? Of course. Alice's words seemed to ignite something within Anne. I'm glad. I look forward to seeing you again. That's a pretty nice route. I'm just saying. We don't even have to get with any guys or girls. Let's just paint, man. I'm into it. This was the best route, in my opinion. She smiled softly as Alice waved goodbye. And yes, this is also romance. It's got romance in it, I think. Or, hints of it. Alice was left alone now, the rain and her only companion. Rainy nights always made Alice feel a bit frightened. It would be best if she could, if she got back to her room soon. She could already feel her heartbeat quicken. Something about the darkness made her feel like she was being sucked in. Sucked in. It was only a short distance between Alice and her room, but nevertheless, the walk felt endless. The halls consumed her and the floor sinking in. No more than 5 minutes would have passed, and yet an eternity went by. Eventually, she reached the foot of her door and breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, Alice made her way inside her room and locked the door behind her. She sighed and got ready to go to bed. She had a long day. Talking to Mr. Drawwick always made her tired, and whilst she usually enjoyed meeting new people, and for some reason wore her out even further. Dang. That was not nice to say. I would just give her the benefit of the doubt. Why? Because she's a nervous person, or because she drew that girl on the wall? Not any of my business what she does with her time. It was nice to try new skills. Perhaps Alice would even go back there and draw again. That's right, the art room. There was something nagging in her mind. Something was off, as if part of her was missing. An extreme anxiety shot her through. Where was Cheshire? Huh? Cheshire, where are... She paused. The intensity of her heartbeat started one woman who wasn't there. She left him behind. The rain was bucketing down, almost drowning out the sound of Alice's own heartbeat. She had to go, and she didn't know how to help Cheshire. Sleeping without Cheshire, blah, 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 blah. Go look for him. Stuck out of her room, she wasn't allowed to go out this late. Break her curfew, but that didn't matter right now. She needed to make sure Cheshire was safe. Carefully, she made her way to the dormitory hall, trying her best not to wake anyone. Walking through, Alice felt the gaze of someone on her. She didn't have time to move around. It was freaking Cheshire. It was Cheshire. Again. Cheshire! She continued to sprint the rain in her frenzy, drowning in any thought she had been about quiet. He was right there. He was so close. Cheshire, stop! Come back! Before she knew it, she found herself face to face with the familiar location, room 2B. Take a moment. All the anxiety of losing Cheshire rushed throughout Alice's body. Her mind was a mess. But he was right there, behind the door. She took a moment to collect herself and bit over it, panting intensely. Sorry. I'm almost there. Slowly she stood back up and turned her attention to the room, opening the door with great anticipation. He was going to be right there. He had to be. Her eyes darted around the room. Most of the paintings Anne had displayed were now covered in white cloth. The only ones that remained were trapped on the wall. In a strange way, not seeing all the weird portraits of Eliza made everything a little more eerie. That's when Alice saw it. A larger canvas covered in the cloth. She swore she didn't see it but there before. Perhaps once she left and went to go paint something else and left it here? That may be so, but the canvas had to be huge. That's not a canvas. Not only that, but Alice couldn't see Cheshire. Perhaps Anne moved him. That had to be the only option. Alice had to look for him. Look under the tables. Carefully, Alice peered under the tables in the art room. Yet, despite how thorough she looked, she couldn't find even a trace of Cheshire. He wasn't there. He had to be somewhere else. Look around the window. Alice approached the window. Perhaps someone pulled a prank on her and put him outside or on the windowsill. No matter how much she searched, she's probably freaking dreaming, man. She was only met with a cool breeze and splashes of rain. He wasn't there. He had to be somewhere else. Look around the art supplies. The art supplies was messy and unorganized. Surely he had to be amongst the mess, right? I see. I have to speak louder because of the thunder. Wait, I'll be right back. But he wasn't there. Alice practically threw everything aside, only making the stack of supplies for messier. Far messier. He wasn't there. He had to be somewhere else. There was nowhere else to look. He wasn't there. Alice started to tear up, her expression failing uncontrollably. Was that it? Would she never see him again? She wept. A quiet meow echoed through the room. Alice was sure that she wasn't hearing things. In a strange way, she thought it possible, even it shouldn't be there. Shouldn't be there that he was calling out to her. Cheshire, is that you? Had to be him. It couldn't have been anything else. He was there. She just had to find him. Cheshire's pissed, probably, I guess. The voice was faint, but Alice could wager a guess as to where it was coming from. The large covered canvas. It was crazy. The cloth was flat on the surface. Large surface, there was no space. Cheshire could have could have been under it, but something told Alice he was there. It was as if there was no other possible option. Slowly she approached. The cloth was clean and massive, as if it was designed to cover something far larger. He reached out and carefully pulled at the cloth. It's a mirror. Oh. It wasn't a large canvas after all, but a full-body mirror? Alice stared deeply into her reflection in the mirror, her visage the only thing she could make out in the reflection. The room was far too dark, it was as if she were the only thing that existed in the room. Everything else was swallowed by an oppressive darkness. When did this get here? For a moment, Alice forgot Cheshire altogether. The surprise of seeing a mirror enough to take her mind off of him. But soon enough, she was brought back to her senses when another meow rang through her ears. It was coming from the mirror. Carefully, Alice moved in closer. Touching the mirror, she peered back at herself in the endless darkness that surrounded her, and that was when she saw Cheshire. He was to her side, sitting at her feet. Reflected back at her. Without hesitation, she spun around and looked down, expected to see her dear companion. But she was met with nothing. What? Alice turned back and peered into the mirror. He was there, once again, at her feet. That's impossible! She could see him, clear as day, and yet, when she turned around, he was gone. She may have very well been delirious, but she wasn't sure. She was sure, so sure. She wasn't wrong. He was there. He was just in the mirror. Slowly, Alice moved in even closer, almost pressing her body against the mirror. If she could just pass through, she would be able to be with Cheshire again. The sharp cold of the mirror pricked Alice's skin. It felt oppressive, or perhaps it was just her nerves manipulating her mental state. Something felt off, it was as if the mirror was beginning to bend. Not too much, but enough for it to become noticeable. At this point, Alice had her entire body pressed up against it. She was going to get inside no matter what. Alice fell to the ground, tears welling in her eyes. What was she doing? It was madness. What was the point of all this? There was no way Cheshire would be behind a mirror. She couldn't help but weep. If her friend was gone, he might as well be gone for good. Slowly, she rose to her feet, defeated. What? Don't talk like that! Ugh, I keep smelling poop. Perhaps it was best for her to retire to her room for the night. She could always continue the search. It's probably probably one of the cats pooped. I mean, Alice wasn't going to fall for that again. Her mind was playing tricks on her. I'll come back tomorrow and look for you. She began to walk away. You were so close, Alice. Are you giving up now? Alice held back a scream. Who are you? She's met with silence. There was nothing else to do but struggle, pull away. She could barely see it in front of her due to the tears, but she mustered all of her strength. She fell back but managed to escape the grip of the person in the mirror. As she looked on, it was just her that remained. But something was different. Her eyes were scratched out, much like the Anna's paintings. What? Ah! Alice screamed and sat up with a burst of adrenaline. She was back in her room, and it was morning. She was dazed, confused, but beside her nagging thoughts, she had one thought in her mind. Where was Cheshire? Moving to get out of her bed, she was ready to beeline it to the room and look for him again, and yet, as she moved, she bumped into something soft and fluffy. It was Cheshire. How was that? She touched him so nervously, only to realize it was Dean, her stuffed cat, as he never left her side. There was nothing off, nothing wrong. It was all in her head. Because we have to do the frickin' thing again. One more route, I guess. Didn't sleep much last night. Sure looks that way. Yeah. If they left before the teacher noticed they could avoid a confrontation, it was best to worry about the consequences later. It was relatively empty. To be fair, this time of the day when many students were just finishing up classes or moving their desks, it was a waste that was nice. Lack of the loud chatter was refreshing and allowed Alice to relax and think about what she wanted to do next. See what Bonnie is up to. It's probably a good idea to see what Bonnie was up to. Where all else failed, she was always fun to hang out with. Plus, Alice did want to know about how her practice tournament went after walking for a few minutes towards Bonnie's last class. Alice was met with a surprised Bonnie who stood in the middle of the hallway. Oh, that's Bonnie. Bonnie! Alice! They both giggled a little as Bonnie walked over, hand on hip. I was just looking for you. Whoa, no way, me too. I guess we just have a sixth sense for that sort of thing. I guess so. So tell me, how was your victory? You mean for the practice tournament? Of course, what else? What makes you think I won? Well, you always win. You got me there. Yeah, I did win. Again. Is she making it up? Did she never win? The two giggled again, Alice nodding her head as she did so she expected as much. Was it a challenge at least? Truthfully, not really. The Academy has a bad case of skill gaps. It's not hard to be the best if everyone is just average. Or worse. Don't sell yourself short! Even if the Academy actually had more talented roomers, I'm sure you'd beat them all. Wow, that makes me feel so special. Thanks, Alice. Anytime, Bonnie. I'm here to support you. Anyways, want to go for a walk? Talking in the hallway is fun and all, but after all that running, I want to find a place to sit down. I'm still sore. Yeah, sure, of course. Bonnie nodded as she walked towards the Academy entrance with Alice falling behind. While it wasn't allowed for students to leave the Academy grounds, going right outside the courtyard was seen as acceptable, so as long as teachers could see you. Alice and Bonnie always bent the rule a bit, however, she going just as far to be alone, but not too far that they wouldn't be seen. Here we are. The two sat themselves on the hillside opposite the Academy. The large grassy hills were an excellent spot for a private discussion. So besides winning, anything interesting happened today? Not really, to be honest. Though a kid did fall over and possibly sprain his ankle. Ouch! Yeah, sure looked like it hurt. But it's not like if he didn't sprain his ankle, he would have won. It was probably a blessing for God he got hurt like that, I'd say. Oh my goodness, you're so cruel sometimes. I'm just saying how it is. Sure. But that's enough about me and my frankly quiet, boring mock tournament. What about you? What were you up to today? Well, Mr. Jawwag asked me to stay after class, but Harrison convinced me to ditch. Whoa, you're going against the rules and ditching? I thought I'd never see the day. I guess Harrison is more convincing than I thought. Ah, something like that. I was just so exhausted it didn't feel like talking to Mr. Jawwick is all. I'm sure that's all it was. What's that supposed to mean? Come on, Alice, be serious here. Both you and I know you and Harrison have a little thing going. Or Kane. It could be Kane or Harrison. Alice's cheeks suddenly flushed as she instinctively turned away. It's not like that. We're just friends. I mean, he doesn't like me that way. Alright, sure. It's true! And what happened after that? I assumed you were with him? Ah, well, I was originally going to hang out with him, but then we ran into Kane and... I see. No need to say more. I get the picture. Yeah, the atmosphere got pretty tense. It's really sad, actually. I wish those two could be friends. I doubt that would ever happen, but you can dream, Alice. One day, maybe. That reminds me, did you hear that rumor about Eliza? Depends. What did she do this time? I heard she was bullying someone again. What the hell? I figured something was going on with that girl. I heard she was bullying someone again, out in the open and everything. What? Like she didn't learn her lesson the first time? Yeah, I know, right? She had her posse with her, so she probably thought no one could touch her. Still, apparently it was pretty brutal. And that's why I love you, Alice. I can always rely on you to stop surface level basic rich girls. I aim to please. But seriously though, she's like some cartoon villain. I will never know how so many people like her. Maybe it's the red hair? People go crazy for redheads. There's no way. I don't know. There's a never-ending line of people with questionable morals that will do anything to get the attention of a pretty girl. What? Like you? I mean, I'm no saint. Why do you think I'm still talking to you? Bonnie did an over-the-top kissy face. No! I'm more than any good looks, I swear. I'll believe it when I see it. The two laughed, but it was short-lived. Something caught Bonnie's eye in the distance, causing her to pause. Hey, Alice. Did you drop Cheshire earlier? What do you mean? Bonnie pointed towards a strange black figure, barely seen across the grass. Isn't that Cheshire there? Alice looked over, seeing what looked to be Cheshire standing off in the distance. The stuffed cat was further away than Alice and Bonnie would ever go. If he was there, it means that someone threw him over there. An extreme panic boiled up inside Alice's throat. Her heart filled her ears so desperately she desperately looked around, searching for the companion she was sure that she put next to her. It didn't take long for her to find him, sitting exactly where she last set him down. She picked him up and embraced him tightly. Her heart still pounded in her chest. Strange. If he's there, then what was... Alice and Bonnie turned back to where the cat-like figure was before, only to see that it was no longer there. Whoa, spooky. Wonder what that was. Alice was less than amused at the strange event they had both witnessed. Wait, what if the zombie boy is actually like a twin brother, like a twin fraternal brother of hers? Nobody confirm this, please. And by confirm, I mean you, developer. Don't confirm. Don't say anything, man. If you're watching, I mean. Also, I'm sorry if I said anything wrong. I really am not trying to say anything wrong. I'm a little nervous that I always say something mean, and I don't mean to. That really stressed me out for a moment. And I'm not even hating at all on the game. I can't express that enough. As she spoke, Bonnie put her arm around her in an attempt to comfort her. If he were really over there, I would have gotten him for you. You know that. Alice nodded in her friend's arms, her warmth calming her down, even if it was only by a little. Thanks. I'm sorry I'm like this. Don't worry about Alice. Still, though, that was pretty weird. Haha, yeah, it's pretty weird. It's pretty strange. Maybe it was a stray cat or something? Or a spooky ghost. Spooky ghost. No! No! Cats can never be spooky or ghosts, since they all go to heaven, silly. Maybe this ghost didn't want to go. Huh? Why not? Cat heaven would have endless fish. That's a fair point. I didn't think about that. The sky started to cloud up and a few light droplets of rain started to fall upon the duo. Ah, shit. Looks like it's going to rain. Quickly, let's go before it buckets down on us. Let's go. With her arms still wrapped around Alice, Bonnie ran towards the academy entrance, the rain picking up with each step that he took. She positioned herself in such a way so that Alice wouldn't get as wet. Though her tempo was rather fruitless, they managed to make it just inside before the downpour. Safe. That was close. Yeah, we almost become drenched. Good thing I'm so speedy. I can always rely on you to go fast. Gotta go fast. Gotta go faster, 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 faster. Haha, you know it. Anyways, I'll walk you back to your room, alright? Please do. Alice nodded in moments like this. She was thankful she had a friend like Bonnie. Thanks, I really appreciate it. I know. The two of them made their way to the dormitories, down a long corridor and into the women's wing. Here's good enough. Thanks, Bonnie. Anytime. I'll see you in the morning for breakfast anyways. Of course. I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah. Good night. I hope you actually sleep tonight. Haha, me too. Good night, Bonnie. Bonnie bid farewell as she left, disappearing into the dark hallways of the academy. Exhausted and defeated in a way. Tiredly, she plugged herself to the body of Cheshire. He has quite a... Oh, she still has Cheshire, okay. He had a sort of inquisitive nature about him, at least in a way Alice can imagine. And this has made her want to talk to him. What am I going to do, Cheshire? Cheshire. She turned onto her side, looking at her stuffed cat eye to eye. So this is going to be like the King's route, I guess. Seeing that black silhouette earlier, something about it really puts me on edge. Alice tilted Cheshire's head, sorry. As if he were Cheshire's cat, dang. As if he were asking her a question. No, I wasn't scared or anything. I knew even if I lost you, Bonnie would help me find you. She quietly pressed her hand against his fluffy belly, taking in a big sigh of relief, knowing that he was still with her. If you were gone, I don't know what I'd do. Alice sighed. I should stop thinking about it and go to sleep. Pee pee poo poo. I'm just being random. She rolled over, taking her stuffed cat into an embrace, wrecking her brain. Before going to sleep likely wouldn't help her with her dreams, but Alice couldn't help it. After a few moments in darkness, she drifted off into a deep sleep, the light rain becoming more soothing in her restless state. As if cradled by the night, a calming sensation watched over her. An endless, formless warmth, as if she were alone in a vast, comfortable void. There was nothing but her and her stuffed cat. She was happy. You bitch! I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry. Oh, God. Yeah. Alright, whatever. Please tell me that's it. I swear to God. I am done. Okay, that's it for now. That was Pandora, Delicate Terrors of a Forgotten Dream. I was scared. I apologize for screaming into the mic. Good God. And by the way, I'm a nervous person, so I can tell you for a fact that me screaming like that, that wasn't faked or anything, because I know people like to fake getting scared or something. I do not fake getting scared. I'm not one of those people that fakes it. That is a genuine genuine jump scare, and I fell for it like twice. I'm not even joking. I'm an incredibly nervous person, and I tell you for a fact that that was genuine. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is going to be like maybe a long video to upload. And I have better internet, so supposedly I can upload this. I don't know if I can upload it right now. I can try, but it might like cause damage and such. I'm kind of nervous that my mom will probably yell at me or something. I don't know. So I'll probably upload this by the next day or something. And then I'll probably... We'll see what else I'll do. Maybe tomorrow I'll play more Scarlet Hollow and do more Reese recordings. Because I'm obsessed with that man, apparently. I don't know why I said apparently. I said that like 5 billion times. Feels like. I don't know what I just said. Whatever. Because that's all I can do. Apparently, the devs called Black Tabby Games of Scarlet Hollow, they said they were splitting the episode 5 into 2 parts. So I really wish that people could comment down below, like, what would you want to see? Do you want me to show, like... So the devs made changes to Reese. A couple of changes. They're just minor changes, but I wouldn't mind, like, recording it. And it would be fun to do. But I'm also getting... I'm not going to lie, I'm getting very tired of, like... going back and doing things and then showing things and stuff like that. I wanted to do it, but then I have playthroughs with other people that I'm doing, like 2 other people and 2 other friends, that one of them said that they weren't interested in the game so much, and the other one's just kind of also not interested. So some of my friends gave up and some of them haven't, and I'm just taking my time with one of my friends and my other friend. I am currently doing a redo of his playthrough. And then I'm going to also redo my playthrough because they switched Keen Eye and Street Smart in Scarlet Hollow, so that's the thing. If anyone's watching this, I don't even know if you guys watch my videos. Like, leave a like, maybe if you want to. I don't know. If you want to leave a like, you can. I don't like telling people to leave a like. I don't like sharing things, but it's always like hard for people to it's always difficult for people to... I don't even know what I was going to say. It's always difficult for people to, like, watch my videos. This is an hour-long video, guys. I put, like, a long time into this. I did a lot of voice acting here, man. Like, I don't know. I mean, you can not like the video. You can like the video. I would appreciate the like. I don't really like pressuring people into doing things, but it's always rough because people don't watch your videos. But then again, I'm doing this for fun, so it's whatever. But every now and then, I get kind of sad when people aren't leaving a like on the video or commenting. Like, I would like to know people's thoughts, but people just aren't commenting. I'd like to know if any, but it's like I don't have very many friends that like horror games, so like maybe that's why. I don't know. But leave your thoughts down below. Do you want to see more Scarlet Hollow? Do you want me to do a full playthrough of Pandora? I'd prefer not to do a full playthrough of Pandora because I think it might be long, like super long. I feel really sad saying that. This is just a demo of the game. If you yourself want to play the game, I'm going to link the game down below for you to play it. This has been on one of my list. It's been on my list for a while now, and I thought to play something else beside Lost Faces, which I just got through playing right after this, and this will be uploaded most likely the next day or whenever I get to it. And the same will be said for Scarlet Hollow. And I am also thinking about, like I said in my previous video, I will also be doing I might also be doing the hot trait run and romancing Reese and then showing that off. But I really don't see the point of that because there's already like a bunch of videos of people who have the hot trait and they already romance Reese with it. But you get to see maybe my reaction, so I guess that's more genuine because hot trait is the only trait I haven't done for all chapters yet so far. And I haven't watched any videos of hot, maybe like glances at it and such, but I have not seen it, not at all. I will be honest. I've only heard about it from people I read about on Reddit, and then I've seen some images and stuff, and that's about it. And maybe some dialogue, a little bit of dialogue, but not a whole lot. But yeah, feel free to tell me down below. I don't have many people who talk in my comments, and I feel really bad that I don't encourage that enough. And I'd really like it if you guys would comment down below, share your opinions. Say did you like this video? Did you, I don't know. Did you know? Was there something something I said that hurt your feelings? I apologize if I hurt anybody's feelings. It is not the intention. It is never my intention, and I feel really bad if I hurt anybody. But if you did actually like this video, or you thought it was like a little bit funny or something, I don't know. I'm just being myself. But if you did like it, please leave a like. It really helps. It really motivates me to upload more videos for you guys. And even then, I am doing this for myself, but at the same time, a little part of me is like, well, I'm also uploading this for other people because I don't want you guys to get bored of my channel or anything, or like get bored of me in general. I know I've gotten people who already unsubscribed, and I feel bad for that. I'm really sorry. I just really have problems in my real life circumstances. I don't want to talk about it, but it's just been super stressful lately. And I know some people don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear any negativity. I get that, and you've got a lot of stressful stuff on your mind as well. Maybe some of you do. But I'm just briefly bringing that up, that I also have circumstances, some mental stuff going on. I just problems. That's why I take such huge hiatuses, and it really cheers me up when people show interest or motivate me to continue. If you guys want me to play certain games, I would appreciate that. But I will be doing Scarlet Hollow Episode 5, as much Reese content as I can. I will not be recording the whole game because I said one time that I would, but I don't think I will, because I think it's just too much for me to handle. No, I am not being lazy about it or anything. It's just, it's a loss of motivation for me personally. Not because even if you encourage me to do a full playthrough, I'm probably not going to do it. It's too long, and it would bore a lot of people, I feel like, and you know, and my throat would hurt. There's also that. But I just like making shorter videos for you guys because I mean, you get to see Reese's romance or my playthrough of that. It's probably not going to end well, but I'll still show you it. And I thought about maybe showing the hot trait, showing my genuine reaction to that. Maybe you guys would like to see that. I know some of you, maybe who followed me for Scarlet Hollow, probably want me to do more stuff. I don't know. Or you want to see some more genuine reactions. Unfortunately, I already did the mystical trait, so you don't get to see my genuine reaction for that. I apologize. I am doing a mystical run, and I'm showing that to other friends and in the Discord server. So there's that. And that's why I'm not recording it. I mean, I can record it just to show what mystical does if you don't know about it. Anybody who's new to the fandom anyways, or has it romance Reese or whatever, or you don't have mystical really, I could still show it. I just don't think there's really any point. I apologize for rambling so much. Some of you probably have left because I rambled. I tend to do that. I apologize. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, like I keep constantly saying, because this is like over an hour long, I think. That's a long video. It might even be almost 2 hours long, if I'm not mistaken. So I really need to end it here. And I gotta get a thumbnail ready, probably. But I'll see you guys later.